For over a decade, Anonymous has been a force to be reckoned with.
A lawyer that made this comment about a police officer? Neither would we.
A relentless fighter for truth, justice, and freedom in the digital age. But as we stand on the steep of 2024, whispers of a darker prophecy echo through the digital world. What terrifying predictions has Anonymous made in 2024? Join us as we reveal the top 10 scary 2024 end-of-the-world predictions made by Anonymous. Number 10. Cyber warfare. Anonymous is getting ready to create some major problems in 2024 through cyber warfare, aiming to cause a complete shutdown of the government and bring the nation to its knees. But you might wonder, how exactly will they do this? Well, they have several options. In the past, they've exploited weaknesses in cybersecurity, getting hold of personal information about government workers like their names, addresses, phone numbers, social insurance numbers, even credit card details, and exposing it to the public. Some have even used this information to make huge donations to various charities. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The hacker group is so skilled that even the president sees them as a potential threat to national security. They can shut down entire sections of the US power grid. Imagine everything in your government, no, in your entire country, suddenly going dark. No lights, no Wi-Fi, no TV, nothing. And that's just the beginning. Everything that relies on electricity stops working. Like your fridge and your toaster, no more cold milk or ice cream. Computers become useless, and your phone? Well, unless it's charged, it's just a useless brick. Businesses close their doors, hospitals struggle, and transportation grinds to a halt. There's no heating or cooling, no running water. If you rely on a well pump, it's like going back in time to when life was much harder. Then comes the panic about food spoiling and staying warm. Some might even worry about safety because without power, security systems are useless, and emergency responders are unreachable, unless you resort to using a messenger pigeon. So yes, doomsday could be on the horizon. For a long time, the United States has accused Russia of cyber attacks, sometimes even teaming up with Russian cybercriminals. But now, Russia is also in trouble. This group, known as Anonymous, has also set its sights on Russia. They've declared cyber war against what they see as an aggressive government. According to them, they've aimed their digital weapons at 1,500 websites, including important ones like the Ministry of Defense, the Space Agency, Russian oil companies, internet providers, and even TV channels. Their actions have caused chaos online, with many websites becoming inaccessible and some completely shutting down. Additionally, sensitive information from the Russian government and military has been leaked onto the internet. American officials have confirmed seeing evidence of this cyber conflict, especially after Russia launched attacks against Ukraine. The biggest danger for Russia in the long run is losing access to the internet infrastructure. Private companies might decide to cut ties with Russia, which would mean everyday Russians losing access to news and information from outside their country. Cybersecurity experts are concerned that Russia might see these attacks as coming from the West and retaliate by targeting US websites. Number 9. War against Scientology. The Church of Scientology teaches that by studying and training, one can find self-knowledge and spiritual fulfillment. They believe that unlocking the body's hidden powers and abilities is only possible after discovering one's true self. However, in January 2008, Anonymous released a video interview with Tom Cruise, who was still practicing Scientology at the time. The church was unhappy about this and filed a copyright claim since the video was leaked without their consent. This event sparked a movement that captured the attention of millions. "Hello, leaders of Scientology, we are Anonymous," declared the group. "Over the years, we have observed your actions, spreading misinformation, suppressing dissent, and resorting to litigation. All of these behaviors have consequences." When the latest propaganda video leaked to the mainstream, it exposed the extent of Scientology's influence. Anonymous decided it was time to take action against the organization. Anonymous launched Operation Chanology, aiming to disrupt Scientology's operations through distributed denial of service, DDoS attacks on their websites. This operation became the largest raid in the history of internet message boards, attracting thousands of participants and fostering a sense of unity. Despite the lack of a traditional hierarchy, certain individuals emerged as leaders, organizing actions and creating collaborative videos to express their collective spirit. The impact of Operation Scientology was felt worldwide, with protests occurring in over 70 cities. Although these protests didn't achieve their desired outcome, they demonstrated Anonymous's willingness to challenge authority. Together, Anonymous successfully took down the main website of Scientology, grabbing the interest of both Sky and Fox News once again. By the end of 2008, Operation Scientology had ended, and many believed that Anonymous had disbanded. However, in 2024, Anonymous has re-emerged in 2024 with a resurgence of radical members, bringing with them a formidable array of hacking skills. These individuals, adept in the art of cyber warfare, have planned and carried out attacks not only on Scientology, but also on major corporations, dealing significant blows to their financial stability. Their relentless commitment to their cause was evident in their declaration to continue their battle against Scientology unabated. While the true extent of the dangers posed by Scientology may still be shrouded in mystery, the fact that Anonymous has felt compelled to intervene underscores the gravity of the situation. For those contemplating involvement with Scientology, the actions of Anonymous serve as a stark warning, urging caution and prompting a re-evaluation of any potential association with the organization. Number 8. Fighting Islamic terrorism. Anonymous has taken a firm stance in support of the victims of the recent Islamic terrorist attacks. In a bold move, they released a cryptic and unsettling video online, issuing a warning to the perpetrators behind the French attacks. The video, though grainy and mysterious, carried a clear message. Anonymous vowed to wipe out the online presence of the terrorist groups responsible for the crimes. However, this wasn't the extent of their retaliation. Alongside the video, Anonymous unveiled a carefully compiled list featuring over 70 Twitter accounts allegedly linked to terrorism. Additionally, they shared a list of websites suspected of harboring extremist content. These actions were part of their larger strategy to seek retribution for the French attacks. One website, Unsur al-Haq, received particularly notable attention from Anonymous. Rather than a usual denial-of-service attack, visitors attempting to access the site were instead redirected to the harmless DuckDuckGo search engine. Unsur al-Haq, known as a virtual meeting point for French Islamic extremists, may have been targeted due to its role in fostering radical ideologies. In essence, Anonymous's actions underscore their unwavering commitment to combating terrorism in the digital realm. By employing unusual tactics and strategic targeting, they aim to disrupt and dismantle extremist networks, ensuring the safety and security of online communities. Number 7. Establishing a nation. Anonymous has a grand vision beyond just causing chaos in countries, all for the sake of challenging laws, of course. They aspire to create an anarchist society once governments collapse and are abolished. But how exactly would this new nation function under Anonymous's guidance? Instead of having authoritative figures dictating orders, decisions would be made collectively by the community members. Cooperation would be fundamental, with individuals assisting one another in various aspects such as agriculture, healthcare, and education. Gone would be the days of being confined to societal labels. Everyone would have the freedom to live as they choose, without oppressive control. There would be no hierarchical structures, only principles of fairness and equality. Rather than resorting to legal battles, communities would come together to resolve conflicts amicably. As for currency, it might become less significant, with people engaging in bartering or offering assistance without expecting anything in return. Communities might even develop their economies, giving priority to the common good over profit margins. Of course, switching to such a society wouldn't be without challenges. Maintaining organization and safety without a centralized government would pose difficulties. However, in this new world, individuals would have the liberty to experiment with different systems and adapt to changing circumstances. In theory, lawlessness doesn't seem as daunting as its reputation suggests. Number 6. Social unrest and protests. While they do have the ability to engage in cyber warfare and cause the downfall of entire nations, they don't believe they'll need to go to such extremes for their anarchist ideas to spread worldwide. As the global economy becomes increasingly unstable, and governments and corporations reveal their corrupt practices, social tensions and protests are growing around the world. The hacktivist group predicts that this trend of civil unrest, fueled by various social and economic issues, will only intensify in 2024. Recently, dozens of drivers working for Yandex Taxi in Moscow faced a frustrating day when hackers from the Anonymous collective breached the app, causing a traffic jam by sending many cars to the same location. Anonymous commented on their Twitter page that this breach was part of their hacking campaign against Russia, known as Op Russia. According to Russia's cyber policy expert Oleg Shakirov, the hackers likely bypassed Yandex's safety measures by creating multiple fake orders. That was just a small demonstration to prove that Anonymous can spread chaos extensively. The more the government tries to suppress knowledge of these protests against powerful entities, the more determined Anonymous becomes to amplify these voices. This should serve as a warning to those in power who believe they can control everything. Anarchy is on the horizon. With Anonymous predicting a stormy 2024, it seems like a challenging year lies ahead. But only time will tell. In a statement, Anonymous disclosed their plans for massive protests against the government. "We are legion, we're numerous. We might not always be visible," as he said. "Yeah, expect us. Yes, we've been in the newspaper claiming that we're planning attacks already. It's unfortunate. We will admit that we do like to have the international Anonymous community involved in an attack of that scale. But lately we've been busy with other things like ISIS, for example." When explaining how they intend to carry out the protests and create chaos, Anonymous elaborated. "We use the denial of service attack. That's our primary weapon. To use the words of another non, if you think of a bus station and 10 people go through it every day and that's its traffic, and you put 50 people at the entrance, the 10 people can't get through. So the bus station, breaks down, it can't be used. We do that to sites, to servers, to domains, and we take them down. That's what we did with PayPal. That's what we did with Sony. In very complex attacks, what we would do is some of the less skilled hackers would use the denial of service programs to take down the domain, weaken it, and then you'd have your real elite tax source coming in and causing man or fulfilling the goals that we have for that specific op." Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. In the depths of the digital underworld, a shadowy figure known only as Anonymous emerged, his identity concealed behind layers of encryption and anonymity. Whispers of his prophecies echoed through the internet's darkest corners, striking fear into the hearts of those who stumbled upon his cryptic messages. As 2024 unfolded, the world watched in horror as Anonymous's predictions began to unfold. A mysterious plague swept across continents, leaving devastation in its wake as cities descended into chaos and despair. Rumors of sentient machines rising against their creators spread like wildfire, fueling paranoia and mistrust among humanity. Amid the chaos, a long-forgotten cult resurfaced, wielding dark magic and unleashing unspeakable horrors upon the world. Celestial objects loomed ominously in the night sky, threatening to collide with Earth and usher in the end of days. As reality itself began to unravel, individuals around the world discovered newfound psychic abilities, their powers shifting the very fabric of existence. From the depths of the Earth, monstrous creatures emerged, hungry for destruction and chaos, laying waste to everything in their path. Amidst the madness, one prophecy loomed larger than all the rest: the final judgment day. As the year drew to a close, humanity braced itself for the ultimate reckoning, unsure if there was any hope left in a world consumed by darkness. As the clock ticked closer to midnight, the fate of humanity hung in the balance, and only time would tell if Anonymous's predictions would spell salvation or doom for the world. What do you think about the top 10 scary end-of-the-world predictions made by Anonymous? Number 5. Exposing details. Anonymous is known for sharing sensitive information, like when it launched Operation Free Korea, which gained widespread attention. Going after North Korea might seem ambitious, but ambition is one thing Anonymous isn't short on. In Operation Free Korea, they hacked into the state-controlled website Uraminzukuri, and obtained membership records. They then made a list of demands, including Kim Jong-un's resignation, the establishment of democracy, the cessation of nuclear projects, and unrestricted internet access for North Korean citizens. However, this is just one event in an ongoing and serious cyber conflict between the two Koreas, extending beyond merely embarrassing a leader. Additionally, they infiltrated North Korea's Flickr site, sharing a photo of Kim Jong-un with a pig snout and a Mickey Mouse tattoo. Anonymous also claimed to have released secret military documents, but these threats never materialized. Anonymous has once again made a strong statement to assert their presence and demand attention. Anon Austria, the Austrian branch of Anonymous, recently released sensitive information about 25,000 police officers, including their names, birth dates, and home addresses. This action was taken as a protest against proposed legislation that would require telecommunication companies to store details of all phone calls and website visits for 6 months, making the data accessible to the police. They intend to show the police how it feels to have their privacy violated by exposing the personal information of Austrian law enforcement. This not only puts the officers at risk, but also endangers their families, as individuals with ill intentions could easily track and target them. While Austria's International Police Association, IPA, denied any breach of their systems, a spokesperson from the Austrian Interior Ministry acknowledged that the information likely came from an organization closely associated with the police. Additionally, Anonymous claims to have accessed a database containing over 600,000 medical records from the health insurance firm Tiroler Gebietskrankenkasse, TGKK. Reports suggest that the database includes information about notable Austrian figures, such as pop singer Hansi Hinterseer, actor Tobias Moretti, and politician Herwig van Sta. In China, Anonymous targeted Kyoto Modern Agriculture, the country's largest vegetable producer, accusing them of financial fraud and deceiving investors. They published a detailed 38-page report outlining their allegations. Anonymous encourages individuals to share evidence of corruption on their website, expressing their desire to expose wrongdoing, but cautioning against biting off more than they can chew. Furthermore, Anonymous issued a threat to the New York Police Department, NYPD in the United States, demanding an end to police brutality against protesters. They posted a video showing a police officer using pepper spray on female demonstrators and warned that they would take action against the NYPD's website if the brutality continued. The public is eagerly anticipating the attack planned for 2024, as Anonymous has issued strong warnings for the year. Number 4. Controlling the dark web. The hacker group thrives on anonymity, hence the fitting name. It's no wonder that the collective is concerned about surveillance as we move into 2024. Governments and big corporations are becoming increasingly nosy, engaging in all sorts of sketchy behavior like monitoring and tracking your actions, not just online but offline too. They're trying to gather your data to sell you stuff, using biometric technology that allows CCTV to identify you without even seeing your face. Even Wi-Fi modems can detect movements through walls by analyzing how Wi-Fi signals bounce off your body. You might think this only happens in dictatorships, but it's widespread, and that's got the activist group all riled up. You see, all this surveillance isn't just about preventing crime or ensuring safety. It's a direct attack on your privacy and freedom. This is why they're talking about taking down the power grid, so get ready. Now let's talk about the dark web. It's called dark for a reason. The dark web is a part of the internet that isn't indexed by traditional search engines like Google. It's a hidden network of websites that require special software, configurations, or authorization to access. These websites often have encrypted or anonymized addresses, making it difficult to trace their users. The dark web is known for hosting a variety of illegal activities, such as illegal drug sales, weapons trading, hacking services, and other illicit transactions. It's important to note that not everything on the dark web is illegal, as it also provides a platform for whistleblowers, journalists, and individuals seeking privacy in repressive regimes. However, due to its anonymity and lack of regulation, it has become synonymous with criminal activity in popular culture. There are all sorts of shady dealings going on there, across various platforms. Some people might stumble upon it out of curiosity, while others use it for malicious purposes. In February 2017, a message appeared on over 10,000 Tor-based websites. "Hello, Freedom Hosting 2, you have been hacked." Freedom Hosting 2 was an internet gateway for hosting websites only accessible through Tor. Anonymous managed to steal 75 gigabytes of files and almost 3 worth of database information, much of which could lead to arrests and imprisonment, according to Sarah Jamie Lewis, a privacy researcher. Freedom Hosting 2 accounted for nearly 20% of the content on the dark web. The fact that they could operate such a vast network without being caught for such serious criminal activities highlights the true danger and its potential impact on people's daily lives in 2024. Number 3. Operation Assange. 2. Almost everyone remembers Operation Avenge Assange. Julian Assange, the mastermind behind WikiLeaks, created a platform similar to Pandora's box. Instead of releasing evils, it spilled classified documents from governments and big corporations. WikiLeaks shocked the world by publishing a trove of classified U.S. military documents, courtesy of Chelsea Manning, a former U.S. Army intelligence analyst. These documents revealed horrifying truths: war crimes, mistreatment of detainees, civilian casualties, and more. The government, furious at Assange for exposing their secrets, pulled out all the stops to silence him. They even crafted new laws to prosecute him. The U.S. government's fight against Assange went beyond legal means. They attacked him from every angle, pressuring companies like Amazon to remove WikiLeaks from their servers. PayPal, MasterCard, and Visa were coerced to cease services, cutting off WikiLeaks donations. Anonymous retaliated with a denial of service attack against these organizations, defending free speech and transparency. Anonymous stood shoulder to shoulder with WikiLeaks, condemning government censorship. Now in 2024, Anonymous has issued a warning, suggesting that they are prepared to unleash a campaign similar to Operation Avenge Assange. This looming threat comes amidst growing concerns over government censorship and the suppression of free speech. With their history of striking back against oppressive forces, Anonymous remains a formidable entity in the fight for transparency and accountability. The potential launch of a new operation by Anonymous raises questions about the limits of government power and the protection of whistleblowers. In an era where information is power, the role of organizations like WikiLeaks and the actions of groups like Anonymous serve as crucial checks on authority. However, it also ignites debates about the ethical boundaries of cyber activism and the potential consequences of such actions. As tensions continue to escalate between governments and those advocating for greater transparency, the stage is set for a new chapter in the ongoing battle for digital freedom. The world watches with bated breath as Anonymous prepares to make its next move, reminding us all of the power inherent in the digital age. Number 2. Fighting censorship. Anonymous is not happy about censorship, especially with Canada passing the Online Streaming Act. The Online Streaming Act, also known as Bill C-11, is like a rule book for how streaming services should work in Canada. Just like how there are rules for driving or playing games, this act sets out rules for streaming platforms like Netflix, Disney+, and others. Here's the deal. The Canadian government wants to make sure that everyone is treated fairly in the world of online streaming. They introduced Bill C-11 in Parliament to do just that. This bill aims to update the laws that were made before people started watching so much TV and movies online. So, what's in it for you? Well, one big part of the act is about supporting Canadian content. That means more TV shows and movies made right here in Canada. Imagine seeing more shows with Canadian actors, stories set in Canadian cities, and movies filmed in breathtaking Canadian landscapes. It's a great way to showcase our homegrown talent and culture to the world. But that's not all. The Online Streaming Act also wants to make sure that when you're watching stuff online, your privacy is protected. It could mean having better control over your personal information and making sure that the shows and movies you watch are safe for you and your family. If Bill C-11 becomes law, it could change the way we watch TV and movies online in Canada. We might see more Canadian shows and movies on streaming platforms, making our streaming experience more diverse and exciting. But remember, before Bill C-11 becomes law, there will be lots of discussions and debates in Parliament. The government will listen to different opinions and make sure that the act is fair for everyone. This law might seem harmless, but it's got some serious implications. You see, the act aims to remove harmful internet content, like misleading political stuff and propaganda. But here's the catch. Who decides what counts as propaganda? That's where things get tricky. Anonymous is worried that this law gives the government too much power to control what we see online. The government could use this law to silence opposing voices or shape the information we receive, creating a kind of controlled reality. It's like something out of a terrifying movie. This is a big deal because if the government can decide what we see and hear, it's like saying goodbye to democracy. Anonymous doesn't take threats to online freedom lightly. They've got a history of fighting back against organizations and governments that try to control the internet. So it's only a matter of time before they hit back with cyber warfare, their way of fighting for online freedom. Number 1. Fighting police brutality. Anonymous has been known for exposing unethical actions by the police. One notable incident involved Mike Ferguson, a Missouri police officer involved in the death of an unnamed African-American teenager. In response, Anonymous issued a warning to Ferguson, the Missouri political team, and local police, threatening action if any more protesters were harmed. However, the police chief dismissed these threats as empty and refused to disclose the officer's identity. Undeterred, Anonymous swiftly took action by doxing the officer, revealing his home address along with personal details about his family, friends, and social media accounts. A similar situation unfolded in Hong Kong, where they warned the government that they would take drastic measures if protesters were harmed, including hacking government websites. Despite these warnings, the government intensified security measures and continued to suppress protesters. By prioritizing their safety over the well-being of citizens, they endangered thousands of lives. This highlights the power struggle between authorities and activists, with the latter using tactics like doxing and hacking to hold those in power accountable for their actions. The recent incident in Minneapolis, where a Black American was killed, has ignited widespread protests and anger across the nation, revealing just one example of many cases of wrongful deaths caused by officers in that area. Anonymous made headlines multiple times during the period. In a video, Anonymous vowed to seek retribution against the local police department, and shortly afterward, the Minneapolis police and official city websites experienced disruptions. This event underscores the growing frustration with corruption and violence within law enforcement agencies, which are supposed to ensure public safety but are often perceived as oppressive and aligned with powerful interests. Following recent events, many people are realizing that law enforcement agencies may not be as kind as they claim, but rather serve the interests of a privileged ruling class. Anonymous further stirred controversy by leaking hundreds of emails and passwords, though these seem to be from previous data breaches. The resurgence of Anonymous garnered support from unexpected quarters, including hip-hop fans who retweeted their messages, forming an unlikely alliance of activists. With distrust in traditional institutions running high, Anonymous has pledged to expose the alleged crimes of law enforcement agencies to the world, asserting their presence with the declaration, "We are Legion." In 2024, Anonymous escalated its campaign against police brutality by issuing a bold threat to track any police officer who violates the rights of citizens worldwide, with a particular focus on America and Europe. This move comes in response to ongoing instances of unethical conduct by law enforcement personnel, echoing Anonymous's past efforts to expose such actions. The prompt for this new warning stemmed from the case of Mike Ferguson, a Missouri police officer implicated in the death of an unnamed African-American teenager. In light of their recent threat to track and disclose the identities of police officers involved in rights violations, Anonymous sends a clear message: impunity will not be tolerated in 2024, and those who abuse their authority will face consequences. As tensions continue to rise between law enforcement and the public, Anonymous remains committed to shining a light on injustice and advocating for accountability in policing practices. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.